everyone, it's Hawaii Legend. I'm here today with another DCUO How to Tank video. Today we're going to be going over the atomic power. I think this power is pretty incredible. It's always been a very tanky power because of its boosts as a tank, all the innate abilities. But I've definitely had fun with this one. It definitely brings some challenges to it. Some of those challenges being mobile and being able to move around the battlefield, and then another one especially being counters. We'll get to those later on. So right here I'm showing you guys the gear I'm rocking, just so you guys can cross-reference with yourself, and just showing you my trinkets. They're always useful. As far as my artifacts, we're going with the Dilucial Refractor. You get more health when you pull an enemy. Then the Mystic Symbol of the Seven, one of the greatest tank artifacts, and then after that, the Manacles. I've tested out things, and I think the Manacles are cool with Atomic, not other tank specs necessarily, but for Atomic, I definitely am rocking the Manacles. Here are my stats, just so that you can cross-reference them with your own stats, or if you're looking up this video for a friend of yours that's a tank, you can at least cross-reference with them. As you see, I have a very high health and a lower Dom as far as it goes in here. That's because I spec full health and then Dom. I'll get to explaining that in a little bit. But right here I'm just showing you how I spec my skill points. Just 1 point to the shield. We have dash attack and this 2 resistance and super speed. No iconic power is needed for the Loadout I run. And then here we go hybrid. 10 points into critical healing, critical magnitude, all health, and then the rest of it Dom. Now, if you don't care too much for the stats, you'll definitely get more power as a super powered. I mainly go hybrid for the stats because I also don't use much for power at all as Atomic. I think it's definitely one of the most power friendly powers. So now we're going to go over the innate abilities. And so on the tank roll we get 90% more defense while not blocking, and then after that obviously our taunts, and then all of our atomic combos cost less power and deal reduced damage. This is pretty good, especially the 90% defense. That's actually pretty off the chain. But the next part and the main part of atomic tanking is going to be the Quark Gluon Aura. I'm just going to call it our aura. And then while our aura is activated, we have 15% control resistance, 25% damage absorption while not blocking, and our attacks heal us for an amount equal to 2% of your health. This goes into why I spec into health and not Dom. I'll explain that when the time comes. But the 25% mitigation plus the 90% defense is pretty cheese almost. Like, we do not take much damage. And that's one of the reasons I rock the Manacles, is because if we do for somehow get hit for 30% of our health, it's pretty good to have that shield. Now, on our moves, one reason a lot of Atomic tanks spec into Dom is because of this. It shows that the molecular charges heal us for 40% of our Dom, which that's pretty good. I'm not gonna, I've tested both of them, and I guess right now I'll bring up why I spec into full health. But I just wanted to show you guys that as well. And it's a good reason to spec into Dom. But after doing the math and whatnot and the way I play, I decided to go with health. So right here we show all the health and Dom I have. In a second I'll show you a full chart of the math I've done as far as heal backs and whatnot from the tanking mechanics. And right here I did a whole spec with full Dom and then health. And so right here I'll show you my stats as far as that goes. So instead of, I think it was like 123,000, we're now at 112,000 health, but we're at 20,732 health, whereas before we were 18,000 and some. So we lose some health, definitely gain some Dom. And so right here I'll show you guys the math behind everything. Now in our full Dom spec, we're looking at a complete health of 112,564. 2% of that, which would be our mechanic heal back, is going to be 2,251.28. With a full DOM of 20,732, we're looking at a 40% DOM heal back from our moves as 8,292.8. The total heal back from all of our atomic mechanics is going to be 10,544.08. For our health spec, we're looking at a complete health of 123,878 with a heal back of 2% of it being 2,477.56. Our total DOM is 18,634, and 40% of that, which would be our heal back for our moves, is 7,453.6. Our total heal back for our mechanics, 9,931.16. The results of this is our full DOM spec heals for a total of 612.92 more than the full health spec. So we are getting more heals or heal backs with our mechanics from the DOM spec. However, with the full health spec, we're looking at 11,314 more health compared to the full DOM spec. Now, as far as my gameplay goes, I don't think 612.92 heal back is that important. And so, okay, we're looking at a little bit more heals, barely, compared to over 10,000 more health. Now, personally, I trust my healers enough. I don't care what healers I go in. It's their job to keep us alive, our job to avoid damage and tank as much as we can. I trust that they can heal me an extra 612.92 more health, and I'll have 10,000 or 11,314 more health to help out. So that's why I go that route. So the next thing we're going to do is look at our loadout. We're starting with Atomic Reorganization, which is your average cone pull. After that, we have Proton Remedy. This is a shortcut to get into your aura. It's usually how I start off fights. After that, we have Atom Splitter. This is going to be your area pull. It can also refresh your aura, and your aura lasts for like 10 seconds, 10 to 12. After that, we have Mass Density. This is one of the most overpowered supers in the game, especially for a tank, and can help out your entire team. I usually save it for oh shit moments or helping out my healers if they go down, or even later on I'll show you when I go down. It helps to pop that when you get back up to help out the entire team. Thermochemical Explosion. This is a good bouncer move. What that means is it juggles your adds and allows you to avoid a little bit more damage. It's also very easy to move to refresh your aura. After that, we have Density, which is just a shield move. So as far as the super goes, I would like to have a group breakout there, but Mass Density is just too overpowered and I can't really pass that up. Density is just a personal shield to help me out in certain situations, especially if my Proton Remedy is not up and I lose my aura for some reason. I'm definitely popping that. So now, as far as the loadout goes, the first thing we need to know is just how to get a quick aura, which basically if you use any one of your combo moves, use the second combo and then you can pop Proton Remedy and you'll have your aura. So I'm going to zoom in right now. If you see the glowing aura around me, that's the Quark Gluon aura that we discussed earlier. This is how you know that you have all the extra buffs of being a tank. As far as the loadout goes, we're going to start off with clipping the Thermochemical Explosion into the Proton Remedy, and after that you just go around doing your pulls, and then your Thermochemical Explosion again clipped into your area pull, and then you just keep running around and doing the same thing. It's a pretty simple loadout. Now it's just how you use that loadout that really makes you a good tank. So in here you're going to see how I counter the enemy and then I pop my Thermochemical Explosion to refresh my aura. The reason is it's one of the hardest things for atomic tanks to be good at countering, because I know and have seen a lot of atomic tanks who focus too much on their combos. I think one thing that a lot of tanks do is they don't trust that they have 10 seconds to refresh their aura. I think a lot of them are caught up on everything going on and forget to kind of keep track of what's going on. So right here you see me get stuck in a few combos and unfortunate deals and I can't counter, but right here you see I counter him and then I pop my Thermochemical Explosion clipped into my area pull. I counter him again and just do the same deal. So once you get the hang of a boss's rotation and everything they do, you can really focus on countering just like you would with any other tank power, which really makes it a lot easier for yourself and the team. Because one, you're not going to be taking as much damage. There's some moves that hit not just you, but any surrounding teammates. So counters are very important. So to be able to do that as an atomic tank is pretty challenging, but can definitely make life a lot easier as an atomic tank. So I highly recommend this. Here's one part of the final boss I wanted to show you guys where I die. So right here you see this Croatoan. He gets in, which means Mordru's about to let off a pretty hard hit. And at the same time, if you see right here, Clarion starts doing his Thunderstorm. All of that hits me at once. Just unfortunate events. It happens. I'm sorry. I wish I was a better tank, but I died. However, my team's able to get me up, and right here you're able to see how overpowered mass density is. I popped that. My team's able to get all the other revives, and I'm able to start hurting up all the enemies again in order to keep it going. So mass density again is just too overpowered. Now fast forward over here, you see now there's purple, which ends up putting me in a corner with all these enemies. You're gonna see even more ads come in a second, but you see me start doing what I call bounce tanking, which is basically just bouncing on top of the head of other enemies, which I was laughing the entire time I was doing this because it's a lot of fun at the same time, but it also actually keeps me from getting damaged as much. It's kind of the same thing as rolling around. I'm just jumping on top of their heads up as high as I can and popping my moves, and it allows me to avoid some damage, as well as avoiding those purple pools. So just it's a quick tip for you to be able to see as a tank, or even not a tank, and maybe recommend it, because not every one of these raids is going to be perfect. There's always going to be Croatoans that get in, and you're always going to have to improvise, either by rotating your entire team around the map, or by doing things like I do, which is just pull everything to you, bounce tank on top of their heads, and just pray for the best and scream at your healers and then apologize to them later for it. So besides that though, that's pretty much everything I have as far as atomic tanking goes. It does really well in survival mode. One cool trick I picked up on, I know it's been a thing, I'm not a vet tank by any means. I just learn the best I can and keep it pushing and try to do the best I can for the team. But one of the cool tips I seen was using a rifle in SM, because you can lunge bosses from max range, which is super cool because things like Ultimate Soldier and stuff like that, you're able to just lunge him as he's doing his mortar at you, instead of having to get up close to the shield, which was one of my problems back when me and my group was doing it. So that was pretty cool. But then also another deal is I was using one of my, I forget what the move's called, but it's a Y combo move for atomic instead of the melee ones. So like if you're going against only one boss, like in SM, how you don't need your group pull, you don't need the thermochemical explosion, because all those do is bounce ads or bring ads to you anyways. So what I was using on that was my cone pull, the Y combo just to refresh my aura, and then pretty much shields besides that. But besides that, there's, I'd say you can rotate stuff out with your density if you want. Mass density would probably be the way to go. Like if you need a group breakout, swap it with your mass density. Unless you really don't think you need a shield. I always like to use at least one shield, usually my power shield, just in case. But feel free to do what you need to, as long as you're able to counter the bosses and keep your aura up. You'll be set. Atomic can take a lot of damage. I mean, as you've seen before, I was just chilling in a corner with everything on me and just eating damage. I mean, definitely not going to take credit away from my healers. They're all incredible healers. But out of all the tanks that I've played so far, Atomic just eats damage, and that's pretty fun to do for sure. But yeah, I think that's about it. I've gotten a lot of feedback on my videos, so I do want to thank everyone who's contributed. Asking questions is huge. Giving me feedback on the results or things I could do better. That helps me. That helps out the community. And so anyone who's responded to any of my videos, liked them, let someone else know about them, I just want to give you guys a huge shout out, because for me it's the main reason I'm doing this. It's just help out the community, helping out all the people who want to develop as better players, be able to do that, because I know there's so many people in this game that don't want to share their secrets. If this helps at all, then it makes it worth making. So thanks again. Let me know if there's anything I can help out with as far as this goes, any videos you'd like to see, and I'll try to do my best to make it happen. I'm gonna just let it play out for now, and I'll catch you guys next time.